Antichrist spirit is everywhere. It is boastful and full of pride. It cannot help itself but try to proclaim its dominance in full view of the public eye. And that is exactly what we saw on February 11th, 2017, when China broke the Guinness Book of World Records for illuminating the sky with 1,000 points of light created by drones. For those familiar with the occult, the phrase 1,000 points of light has immense meaning. We find it used by occultists all throughout history, up to and including people such as George W. Bush in his speech to a joint session of Congress.
A year and a half ago, in Germany, I said that our goal was a Europe whole and free. Tonight, Germany is united. Europe has become whole and free. The world can therefore seize this opportunity to fulfill the long-held promise of a new world order. We can find meaning and reward by serving some higher purpose than ourselves. A shining purpose, the illumination of 1,000 points of light.
Another individual who referred to the 1,000 points of light is famed author C.S. Lewis, who wrote the Chronicles of Narnia. In this book, he stated, "One moment, there had been nothing but darkness. Next moment, 1,000 points of light leaped out. Single stars, constellations, planets, brighter and bigger than any in our world." That very much sounds like a reference to God creating the stars of heaven. But as we know, Satan and occultists obscure themselves and their agendas as angels of light. We only need to look towards occultist Alice Bailey, the Theosophist and Luciferian and co-founder of the Lucis Trust and the Arcane School, to fully understand the meaning behind this 1,000 points of light reference. In her book, The Externalization of the Hierarchy, she states, "The men who comprise the occult leadership group known as the New Group of World Servers. These individuals," she remarks, "are in service to the work of the Brotherhood, the Forces of Light. They are the ones who are to usher all of mankind from the darkness of outmoded Christianity and faded nationalism into the bright and shining New World Order." In her book, Discipleship in a New Age, Bailey tells her occult followers to repeat, quote, "I am a point of light within a greater light." On their website, the esoteric meaning of Lucifer explicitly states that Lucifer was a solar angel who did not fall into sin or disgrace, but as an act of sacrifice meant to bring knowledge and wisdom to humankind. So now that you understand that the 1,000 points of light is not a divine reference to God creating the stars and heavens, but a representation of followers of Lucifer being points of light. So what is the mission of these light bearers? And why are we seeing so many references to the 1,000 points of light like in this Chinese drone show? To answer this question, we need to look at some of the writings of H.G. Wells. H.G. Wells was the head of British foreign intelligence during World War I and was also a famous author. He wrote The Open Conspiracy: Blueprints for a World Revolution. In the book, Wells wrote of an elite group of men who would rule the world. Wells called his conspiracy a, quote, "one world brain, which functions like a police of the mind." H.G. Wells's use of predictive programming in his popular novels The Time Machine and The Island of Dr. Moreau, and those of his disciples like Aldous Huxley, author of Brave New World, or George Orwell, author of 1984 and Animal Farm, wrote these books with a kind of mass appeal of religious attraction for a one-world government. H.G. Wells was part of the Fabian Society, a society that stood for democratic socialism, and interestingly enough, he bore the Fabian Society patch, which was a wolf in sheep's clothing. He writes, The political world of the open conspiracy must weaken, efface, incorporate, and supersede existing governments. The character of the open conspiracy will then be plainly displayed. It will then be a world religion. This large, loose, assimilatory mass of groups and societies will definitely and obviously attempt to swallow up the entire population of the world and become a new human community. The immediate task before all people, a planned world state, is appearing at 1,000 points of light, but generations of propaganda and education may have to precede it. What this means is that the world's existing governments must deteriorate so that a new world order can come about. An order where large, loose, assimilatory masses of people, or populist movements, will seek to take over the world as a type of new world government and religion. What is so frightening about this statement is that this is what we are seeing now. Right now. Have you ever wondered why Angela Merkel of Germany continues to let immigrants into her country even when there are massive outcries of immigrant riots and rapes? Ever wonder why other countries are pursuing the same agenda even when they know it is destroying their own governments and societies? Isn't it peculiar that we are witnessing the rise of global Islam and ISIS on one front, but the rise of a unified Christianity under Pope Francis on the other? This is the occult order out of chaos. They want to bring the weakening or destruction of the current order and have the people of the populist movements bring about the new world order. Even more frightening is that this 1,000 points of light reference is working its way into everyday people's lives. 1 year ago, I went to a museum with my family and found an all-state disaster preparedness booth giving away free supplies. Marked conveniently on every single item was the words Points of Light. This Points of Light organization just happens to have been spearheaded by George Bush Sr. Isn't it peculiar that this Points of Light initiative is handing out free disaster preparedness supplies? Don't you think they are subliminally programming us for what's to come? If you want to see my full video on my experience walking through the Points of Light preparedness booth, you can click on the video at the bottom of the screen. And as I've mentioned in all my recent videos, these events and symbols are prophesizing that we are in fact in the end times, and that we are getting precipitously close to global turmoil. Ensure you're preparing physically, mentally, and spiritually in Jesus Christ, Yeshua. This is Mike with On Point Preparedness. I do hope that you'll share this message with your friends and family. God bless.